Hello and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Hey Daniel,
How's
how
it
have
going?
you been? I haven't actually seen you legitimately since last podcast.
Yeah, that is true. We had Damn It Dom here with us again.
Yep.
Sorry for our listeners for such a long podcast. It was a fun one, but man, was it long.
Yeah.
You want to? I don't know if you've heard the final time.
Oh,
I haven't seen you in a week.
haven't, but I'm assuming it was at least 3 hours.
Just under 3 hours. 2 hours and 46 minutes, I believe. So, thank you for everybody who stayed through that.
Yeah, and honestly, we knew the task that we were taking on. We knew it was going to be a bold task.
Yeah.
It was going to be big, and since that 1 week, I went traveling.
Yeah.
And, I went to a lot of different, board game shops and all this stuff. And I did see a number of the games for sale or for trade that I considered getting. I saw Barrage there for sale.
Okay.
There was a used copy of Grand Austria Hotel that I was very tempted on getting.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I was, I was trying to at least save some money because I'm like, it looks good. It wasn't too bad. It was like $50. So
That's not too bad at all.
no, it's like $30 off their normal price. And then, there was a whole bunch of different ones like Eclipse Second Dawn, which I know our friend Dom has, and a few various ones where I'm like, oh, I should get that because we talked about, oh, that one sounded cool because we ranked it this high,
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? No, can't. Got to cut it clean here. Got to cut a limit somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it was a fun time. And just a caveat for our listeners as well, we mentioned it in the last podcast. We are not doing Outside of Gaming today, but we'll do a little bit of a highlight of what we've been doing lately in a sense because you have some really big news, what you've been talking about. So go ahead, take it away.
As far as what I've been doing lately?
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I've been traveling so much today. I just came back a couple days ago, and then immediately went to our local game shop to do our demos, which kind of wasn't worth it. There was only a group of actually no, there was 8 people, so I guess it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But the previous 2 weeks had been 2 people each week.
Yeah, that's a little
That's
rough.
disappointing, right?
But again, it's summer, graduations,
Yeah.
parties.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it. And nobody wants to go outside with any of the heat, and we started at 5 o'clock in the desert, so I get it.
We hit 107 a couple days ago.
Yeah, we did. And so, but yeah, so I've been traveling. For last week was to Tucson, and then this week was this week will be to Albuquerque, and in 2 weeks I'll be going on a personal trip that has nothing to do with matches because these trips I've been going to matches. So I got to give a big shout out to the
That's why I wanted to start the podcast.
And I appreciate that. First off, Tucson Games and Gadgets. I got to give a big shout out to Shane. He's the manager there and the owner. Mark, they were kind enough to let me go demo. It was a great turnout. A lot of people played the game. They all really enjoyed it. We sold a few copies. Made a new friend who's an employee over there, Janae. Shout out, she was cool. Very, very good at promoting my games. Loved it. And then I went and finally checked out their store in the Park Place Mall in Tucson, which I had never been to their other.
We only go to the one in the Tucson Mall.
Yeah, we went. That was the Tucson Mall. Then I went the next day. Then I don't know why the employees are. I'm losing track of their names, but they were both really awesome. And got to hang out with my buddy John from the Legends of Tabletop podcast. So go check them out if you like D&D podcasts. He's been running it for years, probably even a decade now, much longer than our podcast. So go check his stuff out.
Yeah.
And can I give a shout out to a video game too?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my friend Claire Mulcairn is a video game designer. There was a game, Apocryphana was the name of the game.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's about this weird creatures that are nature creatures, and it's a collectible card game. But this is a video game that you are an exchange student in a church exchange school, not really an orphanage, but you're sent there as a church-based school, and they outright ban the cards entirely. So you're kind of going around sneakily trying to make a collection of this meta game that you never play in the game. It's so hilarious. But and all the art, the story, all the weird stuff does, and it's free on itch.io. So go check it out, Apocryphana.
I've been hearing something about that one. So
yeah,
I've seen
I was very impressed with it. The only problem is it's a first person game, and 2/3 through the game I'm like, buddy, I gotta tap out. I'm hurting.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm gonna go over here, go check it out. But it's free. So itch.io, look Apocryphana, like Apocrypha, but then fauna is like the animals. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then last thing, I did a demo at Isle of Games, which again, I got to give a shout out to all the employees there. Drew, thank you for having me on. Sold 6 of the 8 copies that they had there. Everybody who played it and who asked me about it, thank you for playing it. Glad you enjoyed it. It's the hottest game of the summer right now, and the weather was there in spades to demonstrate that. And it was so worth it too, because on top of that, I bought a shirt for it. Did I tell you about this shirt?
No.
So I bought one of those like cheesy like over shirts, like Hawaiian style, like costume ones, and it had flames on the bottom, right?
Oh, you did show me that shirt, yeah.
And ever since I bought it, like, as much as I hate this, my Amazon has been giving me recommendations for like Guy Fieri style like wigs, like with frosted tips, goatees, sun visors, like cheesy crap.
Well, you got your Halloween costume ready.
I'm already there. Yeah, no, it's so worth it. But yeah, it's such a dumb shirt, but absolutely worth it for that.
And you've eaten at a Guy Fieri restaurant.
I have.
This year.
I should have worn that shirt. Like, I should have just walked in that place and be like, yo, ready for Flavor Town, y'all. Let's go.
Oh, that's funny.
And on a very similar pun, this has nothing to do with it. I went to a lot of thrift stores and found a lot of games.
Yeah.
There's also another store that I saw there, Game Bro, which we had never been to before, and I just happened to be stumbling upon it. Real genuinely nice guy who owns it. Very tiny little intimate shop. You can go check that out. There's not play space. It's just they sell games and figures and stuff.
That's cool.
But Game Bro, very cool. And then I'm sure next week when I do the podcast, I'll give shout outs to all my Albuquerque stuff.
Yeah, and so for people who are watching live that are tuning in, where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in Albuquerque at Empire Game Library on Central, I believe. Yes, it's on Central. And I will be there on Wednesday the 12th. And I will be there for their normal game night, showing off matches. And on Friday, I will be at Slice and Dice off of Wyoming, and that's off of the Highway 40. And I'll be there from probably about 4 o'clock on. And yeah, their food is amazing. So
yeah, that is.
And they're great people on all of it. So go check it out. Friday the 14th.
So for our listeners, this has already happened. This is in the past. But for our live viewers here on Twitch, there you go. That's where you can meet him and possibly get defaced copies of matches.
Yeah, I'll be happy to sign. Oh, can I share another story?
Okay.
Because so, I always say this joke where it's like, yeah, if you bring me any game, I'll just sign it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't mind signing it. I have no personal thing with it. And there was this high school kid, right, who was one of the players of matches, and he had a bag already with him, and I wasn't sure what it was, and it was one of those big Pokemon packs where it has 4 or 5 promo cards and booster packs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he just went in there to look around, but I convinced him to play matches, and he was like, yeah, this is really cool, dude. I love it, and he ended up buying a copy. I was like, I'll be happy to sign it. And he was like, sure, yeah. So I signed it, and then so he started opening his Pokemon packs as he's just relaxing and hanging out. And he pulls a foil Charizard EX.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he was like, dude. I was like, dude, it's a sign. And I point at matches. I'm like, we lit the flame, bro. We got this. And he was like, yeah, this is already my second copy. He was like, would you sign it? I'm like, I have no involvement in Pokemon at all. I used to play when I was a kid. I played Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I was like, the creation of this game, I was like, if it's a Charmander, maybe. And he was like, no, bro, I already have one. Can you sign it? I was like, I'm not going to know what, questions this leads to. When he's, a grandpa and he hands his kid down his kid's who's Daniel McKinley? But, sure enough, I thought it was only fair, since he was so excited about it, that I had to sign a foil Charizard EX. In addition to my copy of matches, let me share this as best I can. Yep, there it is. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Good thing it's not an OG. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I could have signed my original one. I might as well at this pace.
Shenanigans, man.
It was ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time,
Yeah.
touring Tucson, signing
Yeah.
some games. It's nice for you to do that. Basically, you did a local book tour in a sense, but for your
Yeah.
game. So you don't see that a lot with board game designers.
No, exactly. It's very rare with board game designers, and in fact, I really appreciate it when we have people come to our shop and they're like, "Hey, we want to show this game that we made." You know, we try to make a thing with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it was a fun experience, and halfway through.
One more week to go, and hey, maybe you'll get some more here soon enough. They're going to be at KublaCon, right? Thing 12.
Yeah, they just were. At
Yeah,
KublaCon.
it was just happening. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and if you listen to any of our podcasts and you're familiar with Thing 12 games, or even if you're not, go Google them, see if there's any events that they're going to be nearby. They are up in Oregon, and so any conventions that
I
they're
thought
at.
they were Washington.
Washington, and
yeah, because aren't they in
near
Seattle?
They're near Seattle. They're not in Seattle.
Dude, I saw the map of Seattle. If they're in Tacoma, they're in Seattle.
They're in Idaho. They're in Seattle, right? You know, it's more or less. No, But please, go check out their stuff. Go play their games. Go show support at one of the conventions.
Yeah, so yeah, it's good times. Like for me, it wasn't really much going on our end of things.
Yeah, what did you guys end up playing?
So we ended up playing. I showed him, and you can see what we played on Instagram. We tend to upload what we've been playing. So follow us on Instagram.com/@everydayboardgames. But I showed him finally. He got to play Arkham Horror LCG, or the card game, is what its proper term is. Everybody calls it the LCG. He really dug it.
Yeah, I bet.
And I'll get more into this when we go next week when we do our top 8 debate. But the other one we did was Beer and Bread, the Scott Alms two-player game. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Really good. I liked it a lot. I love multi-use card games.
Mm-hmm.
It really enjoyed that one. And then we also played Marvel United, Spider-Geddon.
I'm
the
sorry.
new thing, and you like Marvel United, not Champions.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. No, United's all right.
Yeah, there was the co-op one, because I had the most recent one, Spider-Geddon, so we wanted to try out the new Spider-Mans and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Noir and Spider-Punk, that was the 2 we played, and Anti-Venom, so it was really cool. Other than that, haven't really been playing much games. I really started playing Fallout again. Fallout 4, because I have the next gen upgrade for it. So I started again. I'm like, I got to get all the trophies again, so let me do this. And so that's really what I've been doing. And, the wife's home this week because they didn't have anything for her to go to, so we were hanging out. She's been playing Minecraft in her room and yelling at each other across the house.
That's pretty great.
But all in all, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty chill week because my friends are out of town, so we can go hang out with them for her birthday because she was giving a keynote speech.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been pretty chill. Bought some, went shopping.
Uh-oh.
Not for me, board game wise. Though my wife did buy me a board game while she was up in Seattle.
So she went shopping.
She went shopping. Yeah, she bought me a board game while she was in the Seattle area. She went to 2 different game stores while she was in Seattle. She bought Emerge from one game when she was out over by Olympia. The game store she originally went to last time she was up in that area. That got me the Conspiracy card game, the Abyss Universe, and then the other one. And then she just picked me up Emerge there because she was in that area. And then she went to another place, Game Matrix, up in Tacoma, Washington. Really good stuff. Like, there was a lot of stuff. And Damn It Dom was here for game night, so he was taking the tour of the game store with us. And we were like, they have that game, and they have that game. They had a lot of games. It's just she didn't have the space because she only has a carry-on. She didn't have the space. So I was looking for, little small card games to bring home. They didn't have anything, but they had some good classic games for the life of me. Though, for the life of me, I don't know why they sold this game. They had a copy of Frederikus on their shelves.
That's a shame.
Me and Dom were shocked when we saw it. And so I made my wife look at the cover.
They got it when it was brand new.
And it's been
sitting there for decades.
They're still selling. Well, it's because they're selling it for $20.
It ain't worth that.
No, it's
not even for the pieces in there. That's not worth $20.
Yeah, but other than that, it's been pretty chill week for me. We're gonna have another game night this coming week while you're gone. I think it's Gamehead Geek's pick this week, unless he can't show up, and then it's just gonna be 2-player games again.
Yep. Cool.
With that being said, you want to get to the news?
Yeah, let's get into some news. Let's talk about what's happening lately. We have a lot of news that we're talking about because we postponed this episode, and we have quite a bit to cover. Mm-hmm. So let's begin with our coin of doom. Boom. That'll be you.
All right. So the first thing I want to talk about, there's going to be So, 3 game kind of announcements that I'm going to talk about, and one big one that's going to be my last piece of news. But the game kind of announcements intrigues me. So one is a game that's already been released, and this is the first one I'm going to talk about. You and me have both played it. You and me have both enjoyed it. It's a flip and ride or a roll and ride. I can't remember exactly which terminology it is. It's a Phil Walker Harding game based from his Joey design games, and this is called Scribbly Gum.
Yep.
This has been picked up by Postmark Games. They're going to be releasing print and play copies, print and play editions of the game, as well as they're going to be releasing more expansions for the game.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to give physical copies or if it's just going to be print and play.
They're only print and play.
That's what I thought.
Is the idea, yeah.
They're going to be about £5, which is roughly about $7 or $8 for American, for people to buy. And what else is neat about this? They've announced there is a possibility that they're going to be releasing new Phil Walker Harding games in the future.
Right.
And so that's what really intrigued me. But if you haven't got Scribbly Gum from Phil Walker Harding when the Joey Games Kickstarter went off, now is your chance. You could just get a print and play version at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you see who one of the co-owners of this company is?
No, I did not.
Matthew Dunstan.
Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. When you find that out, you're like, got it. No wonder.
No wonder, yeah.
Matthew Dunstan is one of the owners of that. So, I mean, yeah, good deal, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's awesome.
And then it's a fantastic game, especially if you've already owned the game and just want more stuff for it. The fact that you could just print out plays for you.
Right.
That's
Might as
great.
well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, cool. The first topic I want to talk about, I briefly asked you about it because I wasn't sure if our friend from Level 99 Games, Brad Talton, if he brought it up. And I know he teased it a little bit, but now it's officially announced. Level 99 Games is releasing a game called Spooktacular, where you are one of the monsters. I don't think it's licensed per se, but I do think there's a lot of public domain or similar to but legally distinct from kind of monsters, right?
It's the universal monsters that everybody knows, but it's the public domain versions of them, which you can do.
Exactly. And now you are playing as the monsters themselves, wreaking havoc on the townsfolk, which is a theme that you don't see very often. Normally it's like, we need to save away from these monsters, or it's the ever-impending doom. No, you are the monsters. And if there's one company that I think could pull this off as well as they do, with as I'm sure they're going to throw every asymmetric ability on these characters as they could possibly come up with. Spooktacular, Level 99 Games, is going to be coming to Kickstarter if it's not already there. It's not. Yeah. It's coming soon. Go check it out when it's up.
I think it's supposed to be in mid or end of July, if I remember correctly from the email. So
I don't remember.
And E3 was talking about it, I think, 2 weeks ago. And so he was saying somewhere around mid-July.
Yeah.
That's what they're shooting for.
Absolutely.
Don't quote us on it. It's what I think is the plan is.
If I meet up with them, I might be able to try it.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Pull some strings there if I can.
So the next bit of news here is one that we were kind of talking about. I actually had to explain this one to Damn It Dom because he was looking forward to it. He's like, "Oh, a new John DeClaire game." I'm like, "No. You need to understand
just
this."
The normal John DeClaire.
And he's like, "It's John DeClaire and Renegade." I'm like, "Yes, but you didn't see the fine print on this one." He's like, "No, what is it?" It's in their solo series. It's a card crafting, deck building John DeClaire solo game. And he's like, "Tell me more."
Go on.
He got really excited about that. The game is called Unstoppable. It is in the solo series. It will go to crowdfunding, I believe, summer of 24, so sometime within the next a couple months. It's supposed to be Q1 release of 2025. But it's John DeClaire, one of our favorite designers. Yep. It is a solo game, which I've been getting into more and more of them.
Right. I have all of the ones in this series, the Hero series.
I didn't like Proving Ground.
I liked it quite a bit. That was King Klenko, and
it was fine.
I liked his re-rolling mechanism. It was
fine. It wasn't like my best thing. And so I want to try the other ones, like the Scott Alm ones.
Wreaking Havoc or
Recklin one. I want to try that one. I for sure want to try this one because it's like a solo deck building type game where you're card crafting.
Yeah.
That intrigues me a lot. So it is deck building, card crafting, John DeClaire, going to crowdfunding sometime July, August, around that general area. It looks really good.
Yeah.
You see little sneak peeks of it. They're showing a little bit more here and there. And again, I don't know how I got to belabor the point. John DeClaire, his stuff.
Friend of the podcast.
His stuff is fantastic.
It is. Yeah, I rarely play a game from him that I don't like.
Yeah.
Rarely. All right, the next one. Speaking of game lines of things that we enjoy, the Dice Tower Essentials line is getting a new game it was already out, but they're bringing it to it. It's called Ito. It's like a party style game. Are you familiar? Did you look into this one?
I look into it. This looks really good.
Yeah, basically the premise that you have is it's limited communication. You're all working together. You're trying to put numbers in order.
They put a game on the mind.
Yeah, basically, right? I mean, it's kind of like the mind meets Dixit in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out which order everything goes in. So you have numbers anywhere from 1 to 100, and then some weird category comes up, like...
You know what I heard it described as, and it kind of stuck for me? It's the mind meets wavelength.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. And for those listeners who don't know, wavelength is like this weird arbitrary, like you have a dial, and it's not numeral, but you have this dial, and only one player gets to look at it and give the clue, and they're trying to give like furry and not furry, and they're like opposite categories, like this side is furry, this side is not furry, and if the dial's like at 60%, you're like a gorilla because it has patches of not furry on it, like, and you don't clarify what it is, but then everybody has to kind of dial in.
A dog with mange.
Yeah, a dog with mange. Yeah, and so that's how this is going to work. Your number, if I get a 20 and you get like an 85, we're going to say how ours fit, and then we're going to have to try and put ours in order.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Sounds really cool. I look forward to it. But what really struck me about the news is the Dice Tower Essentials line is still going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I knew it was, but like...
The World Wonders is in the Dice Tower Essentials line.
Yeah, it's just there's something about it. I'm like, wait a minute. For some reason I thought it was halting for a while, but apparently no. It's still
they're
very
getting
strong.
two released this year.
Wow.
No, 3 releases this year. Ito is 1.
Yeah.
They're getting Comic Hunters, which is the
that's right, the comic
the Marvel one where you're hunting down comic books and set collection type thing. And they're also getting the video game one I was telling you about. The Comic Hunters, the video game one, are from Brazil.
Yeah.
And then Ito is from Japan. So I love the fact that Tom Vassell, and this is who really does it.
Yeah.
He's bringing all these good games from other countries.
Yep.
And so, yeah, no, I'm loving it.
And especially thanks to Arcade Wonders for going along with this thing, right?
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic idea. And the fact that they jumped at the chance to do this, and they've brought in some really good stuff. Aquatica.
Well, we don't know that yet. Oh, well, no, Aquatica is one of them. Right. But I'm saying, like, the new stuff that they're bringing in, we don't know that they're good yet. They're probably really good. Everything else has mostly been good.
That's a Brazilian game. It's good.
Yeah, but again, not every game from Brazil is going to be good, but every game we've played so far has been pretty good.
Honestly, you know what my least favorite of the Dice Tower Essentials line is? That all the games I've played? Sheriff of Nottingham.
Really?
Yeah, the first one.
That's probably still my favorite.
Viral, I enjoyed my play.
You don't like Onitama, do you?
I love Onitama. Just 2-player games don't get played. I used to own it for the longest time.
Yeah.
So, no, but yeah, no, I
haven't tried that Viral one yet.
It's neat. It's not great, but it's neat. I still like it better. I don't like bluffing bidding games, so that's why it just kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love the Emerson Matsuchi one. It's just ridiculously too large, so I'm looking forward to the smaller version of it.
Right, exactly. While you're going to your next piece of news, I need to look something up real quick.
All right, so for my third piece of news here, this is the one that I am really, really excited for because I love the game this is based off of.
Okay.
And it looks like, and from what I'm reading here, I actually found an article describing this game off, I believe it was Dicebreaker, if I remember correctly, which give you a little bit more information because all you really saw was an Instagram post, a Facebook post, and people talking about it.
Yeah.
This is Western Legends Stories.
Oh, yeah.
This is a campaign/legacy standalone game in the Western Legends world. Is the best way to describe it.
in the Western universe. It's like, no, that's called the West. Isn't
yeah,
it?
but it's
right,
more
but it's
along the
fictionalized.
mythological Western legend heroes
just
and stuff like that.
fictionalized,
So that you have like Billy the Kid, but it's the more fantastical Billy the Kid, not
Right.
the actual one.
Not William Bonnet or whatever his name is.
The lore, the myth, the legend of sorts, and
Yeah.
hence the name Western Legends. It's supposed to be 6 episodic episodes with Western Legend gameplay, so it's supposed to be really open world still.
Okay.
You're building up a trading post as you're going through the scenarios and building a larger city. So it's starting out like, say,
Interesting.
how Carson City kind of started. It was basically a trading post, a hub for a railroad,
Mm-hmm.
and grew to be one of the larger cities there in the West. And now it's shrunk again, mainly because
Sure.
Vegas overtook it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's supposed to take about 10 to 20 hours for the full campaign. So I'm looking forward to this. I really do love Western Legends. And if it's Western Legends play, 6 episodes doesn't seem like a lot, especially for like a legacy in a campaign. But Western Legends could take 1 to 2 hours gameplay. So that really makes sense that it's hitting about the 10 to 20 hours for the campaign style of games. That's telling me some campaigns might be short, others might be super long. Just depends on how you play the game. So looks really interesting. I'm probably gonna, if it goes on crowdfunding, I'm probably gonna back it.
Yep.
If it's pre-order system, I'm probably gonna pre-order it. I really do love Western Legends. It is in my top 10 games of all time. And I want to get Western Legends back to the table. I really want to get this played.
Yeah, I if I'm invited to play it, I'd be down to it. I'd be hesitant to buy it myself, but I'm curious. All right, this next one I want to talk about is there's this company that doesn't get much press around. Like they're pretty well loved by by who follows them, but they're mostly a really small company and they make very small games. But they just got their first IP ever, and this is Walking Dead Surrounded from Button Shy Games.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, there's going to be an 18-card game from Button Shy that is based off of the Walking Dead universe, and I think it's like either a solitaire or a 2-player game, and it's like pretty much survival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This was interesting. Actually, no, I stand corrected. This is their second IP game. They did have one before, and I don't remember what it was, but this is their first one that's Walking Dead. I thought it was interesting to bring that up. That a company that's just known to make little wallet games. They come in a little like vinyl wallet that has 2 pockets in it, and you put 18 cards in it, and that's it. The fact that they do this is really intriguing to me, and the fact that they have enough notoriety that they are now making IP games makes me wonder what else could they do. Could they do a Star Trek? Could they do Star Wars? Could they do bigger IPs, Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, no, it sounds interesting, but it's weird to me that the new thing about these IPs that are going off are IPs that are not really as popular as they were in their heyday. Think about it. Button Shy just did Walking Dead. Walking Dead is not as popular as it was, say, about 5-10 years ago.
Not at all.
Same thing with Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. Came out with it as Game of Thrones has really waned in popularity.
Right.
It's all about
House of Dragons is out now.
Oh yeah, it's very popular, but it's based off the original series.
Right.
And then it's based off the TV show, not the books.
Right.
And you can tell by just how things go.
Oh yeah.
But I just find it weird that it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool that they're getting these IPs and these smaller companies are actually branching out and getting to these IPs. But it's just also kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird on the fact that like Star Wars is a perfect example of that. Like back at like 10 years ago, Star Wars games, like you had the Star Wars game, like from Fantasy Flight or whomever, right? And there'd be here and there. Now they're just like, hey, here's an IP. Any company who wants it, go for it.
Yeah,
there's like a million different companies.
Asmodee just came out with Bounty Hunters.
There's Bounty Hunter. There's the collectible card game. There's like all these different games in the that they're making based on this IP, and they're being a lot more frivolous with their
and the same thing with Marvel too.
Yeah.
And so you see like smaller companies.
Oh yeah, there's like every company has a Marvel license.
Yeah, I mean, WizKids had Marvel Remix, basically fantasy rooms with Marvel tie-in. So, it might be on your last piece of news, but
it's not.
Did you see the most recent Star Trek news?
No.
The deck building.
Yeah, the deck building one. Yes.
Yeah.
David Turksky.
Yeah, of all people.
Yeah.
Which scares me a little bit.
Sure.
You want to know why?
What?
Because the only other deck builder of David Tursky made,
Yeah.
I like, but it's heavy. It's right there behind me.
Oh yeah. Actually, no. I do believe it's based off of that.
Yeah.
What everyone was saying is that it looks like it's like a remake.
Yeah, Luminous. I know more deck building, but yeah, it looks intriguing. I'm just wondering because I really like Star Wars, the deck building game, and I like the simplicity of it. It's basically Star Realms, but with the Star Wars IP in a sense. And it does some really cool stuff. The Star Trek one, so complex. If it's that set behind me, the Imperium, scares me a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, Star Trek was for more intellectual people than Star Wars, right? You heard it here. If you disagree with this statement, send your email or your hate mail to Daniel@everydayboardgames.com.
Not a real email. So, I like both series. I really do. I like Star Wars because I'm more of I like fantasy. It's like one of my favorite genres to read.
Yeah.
I really do dig Star Trek. I hated I hated Discovery. That show sucked. I only went about 7 episodes in the first season. Did not watch it since because it was just annoying.
Yeah.
But I just started going to start the new Star Wars show. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh.
But with my final piece of news, and please bear with me, this is going to be a little bit longer one because we like talking about awards.
Should I do mine first? Like, should I do mine? Because mine's a really quick one.
Yeah, go ahead, do yours first.
And it's really not impressive. I'm going to start with mine. So, they announced a new sequel that I'm quite excited for to a game that came out in 1977. And they finally made a sequel to it. This is called Tortoise Tumble. This is a sequel to Pass the Pigs.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're rolling pig figures.
I thought I saw you looking up Pass the Pig on you.
Yeah, because I wanted to know what year it came out. 1977 was the original one. And that in itself was based off of just a press your luck, really simple one-die game called Pig, where you roll a die, you get that number of points, and you can keep going and scoring points until you either stop and score your points and that's saved forever, or you roll a 1, which is rolling a pig, and you lose your points that you've scored this round. Very simple. I played it. It's like, oh, that's a cool little fun little math odds, you know.
Pass the Pig is not bad.
Pass the Pig's not bad, and like the way the pigs land, that's how you get points or do or do not get points. They even remade Pass the Pigs in like polar rollers. Like Funko made a game of that where they use polar bear meeples, and that kind of works the same way. It was obviously inspired by, but no, Tortoise Tumble is the first official sequel to that game from the 1977. I just love that idea. It's interesting. It's probably going to be trash.
Isn't it Milton Bradley?
Oh, probably. I don't know.
It's one of those mass market ones, but yeah.
Hasbro, yeah, something like that. But I mean, I'm all for it. I'm going to buy it because that's hilarious.
All right, so for my last bit of news that I was originally going to do, the actual bit of news, we like talking about award seasons. This month, we're recording before they have announced the Speil de Jahres nominees,
tomorrow,
which should be relatively soon. This is going to air in a couple weeks. We record live in a back order this way because someone travels a lot, apparently. But the one company has already announced their winners. We've talked about the American Tabletop Awards not too long ago, and this is the newest one, and this is a bigger one, I think, in the U.S. This is the Golden Geek Awards. Board Game Geek. It is a crowdsourced awards ceremony in a sense for board games that come out in the general area. Anybody who is a Board Game Geek user and has, I forget what it is, Geek Bucks I think what it's called or something like that for using the site, allows you to vote on it and stuff like that. These are the awards of 2024. These are the Golden Geek winners, and starting with let's see, there's 12 awards,
and we'll give our reactions for each of these.
So there's 12 awards. I have it marked down where multiple won. So it's like the People's Choice Award. So Sky Team won the 2-player award. In co-op.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
That is a great
idea. It is exclusively only a 2-player game. And only a cooperative game. In fact, me and my son played this literally an hour before I showed up here, and this is the first time we have ever lost a scenario. And it was to the last roll.
Nice.
It was so good.
All right, the next award I have
100% agree with that.
Down here is the artwork presentation.
Okay.
And this is Castles of Burgundy Special Edition.
Sure.
And I agree with that. That
Yep.
is a fantastic game.
Great art, great production. Absolutely.
The next one here is the best expansion, and this is Ark Nova Marines World. I haven't played it. I own it. It's just sitting in my pile of
No
shame
idea.
over there.
Art that was cool though.
Yeah, Ark Nova is really good. The next one here, and this one won multiple awards. It won the Innovative. It won the Heavy Game of the Year, and it won the Thematic Game of the Year. We talked about it last week. Hegemony. Hegemony, lead your class to victory.
Yeah, which we have not played. That was also for sale. I thought about it. We thought about it again. We haven't played it, but it's already on the top 100, probably for a reason.
Yeah. And then which is intriguing to me. It makes sense, but it's intriguing to me. I think the medium and the light should have been flip-flopped a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Sure. The light
this.
game of the year is Thunder Road Vendetta.
Yeah, sure.
And the medium
Great
game.
game.
Yeah, it is.
Very
It's a fantastic game. I enjoy the mess out of it.
Yep.
The medium game of the year, Earth.
I mean, yeah, I guess
I
can see
could
it.
see one way or the other, but
Yeah.
I just think Earth is a little bit lighter.
I don't think. Well, no, I think Earth is definitely more complicated than Vendetta. Thunder
You're-
Road.
Oh, okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I think it's much more difficult.
You're gonna like this one though. Party
But
game.
Earth, yeah,
Fantastic.
yes, 100%.
Party game. That's not a hat. You do enjoy
I
that
just
game.
demoed that just the other day, and so this is one of the hardest games to demo because I'm trash at it first. But secondly, as I'm giving people the spiel and trying to teach them how to play, I'm not focused on what the cards are. And at one point, I was playing it with a couple of patrons at the shop, and one person passed me. It's like, here's the rubber band, and I was like, was that even one of them? Like, or are you pulling my, like, what, did I just not pay attention to that degree that I just don't remember a rubber band or whatever that item was? It wasn't even that. Like, that's how little I remembered. And everyone else was like, yeah, it's in the game. I'm like, then I'll assume it's that card. Sure, thanks for the rubber band. And pass it on. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So the next one here is Waypoints. One print and play.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I don't know anything about that one.
Waypoints? No, but it looks cool though. It's also, I think that is a Matthew Dunstan.
Okay.
From
So-
the same company that's printing Scribbly Gum.
You'll be quite happy with this one
Okay.
because a solo game won solo game
Yes.
of the year.
That was finally only a solo game.
Legacy of You.
Of me? No, sorry. I had to do it every time. Yeah, no, an actual solo-only game. Thank you for winning the solo game category.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Now, all those nominees, stupid. Like, I hated that. Same with the two-player game. It was like, oh,
Yes.
best two-player game. It was like a bunch of, like, 2 to 4 player games. And no, stop that. Stop doing that. You can win lighter, easier, medium weight strategy game. Whatever.
Yeah.
But the solo game, thank you for winning it.
So, War Game went to Undaunted Battle of Britain. I've heard
Cool.
really good things about the Undaunted series. Never
Yep.
played it myself.
Curious to try. Yep.
Yeah, and then let's see, we got 2 more awards left. Unmatched Digital Edition won the Best App Award.
Sure.
I haven't played it. It looks pretty good. I
Yeah.
think, from my understanding, they're going to end up retooling Unmatched, the app.
Okay.
And then finally, Podcast of the Year was One Stop Co-op Shop.
Very cool.
Not familiar with any of them.
I'm familiar with One Stop Co-op Shop. All right, so let's get into today's topic. We're going to be breaking down or brainstorming Camel Up, the Speil de Jahres winner from 2014, 10 years ago. And since it's now Speil de Jahres season, it's coming out. The
As of
announcement should
recording,
be-
it hasn't been announced.
has not.
As
The
of
nominees.
listening, when it comes out live for the podcast, they should be
The
out.
nominees, yeah. The nominees should be announced. So we're looking forward to those. But we're going to be breaking down these. We have 5 criteria. Ease of play, replay value, meaningful choice, game immersion, and art and production. Again, we'll get into the details specifically on that when we get to it. But let's tell them what Camel Up is.
Ooh, Camel Up is a racing game, but with shenanigans. Because
Yes.
you're gambling, you're betting, you're trying to see which camel's going to move first,
Right.
but you're also rolling some dice. And if a camel, bidding as well, and if a camel lands on top of another camel, it's actually ahead of said camel.
Right.
Shenanigans. It's
Right.
what it is. It's shenanigans.
One of the best parts about it is that the camels can get like these boosts, right?
Yeah.
Like, as Luminous said, they're very unpredictable. They stack, and that is absolutely on purpose by design. Is because when, let's say, you have the orange camel and the blue one jumps on top of it. Well, if the orange moves, it takes everything that's on top of it with it, because that's getting a free ride. Because you're only rolling D3s, so they only move 1, 2, or 3 spots every turn.
Yeah.
But that's not entirely certain, because they might still move more on a turn, and you have to time it really accurately. Like, you're going to place your bets on who's going to win, who's going to place, and who's going to show, but you have to do it at the right timing on your turn. So the white camel goes backwards, yeah, which is hilarious. I forget that they go backwards sometimes. That's the weird thing. So yeah, like, so on your turn, you're either going to place a bet, you're going to roll a die and move, or you're going to do something else that I forgot off the top of my head. But again, it's like a big multi-group party race game that has this cool little pyramid thing that rolls the dice.
Yeah. It's intriguing to me. I'm not a huge fan of this game. I'll be honest with this one. So when we did the brainstorm, I'm like, okay, these are the games I would want to play over Camel Up. And so I have one cheaty pick in here, and I'll explain to it when we get to there, but it wasn't that hard. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult to come up with recommendations for this game.
Yeah.
I did lean a little too heavy on just like race games,
Sure.
a little bit of auctioning and bidding and stuff like that.
2 of mine are race games, so it's fine.
4 of my 5 are racing / bidding kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do have one that I think fits this criteria, but I'm going to have to make a big argument for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Illumina said it's a great gateway game. It really is.
It really is.
It's easy to learn. It's easy to understand. And yeah, like, you're not really going to be invested so strategic and perfect play. Like, no, it is shenanigans. As you said. So let's get started with the first category, ease of play, and that'll be me. So ease of play, this breaks down into a few different parts. First off, how simple and familiar the mechanisms are. In this case, Camel Up, you roll a die, see where it moves, right? Likelihood to get to the table, a lot of people like race games, and I mean, this is a fun little Egypt theme, and the piece in the middle, like the pyramid.
Oh.
The pyramid has.
Well,
what?
you said Egypt theme, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah, it's loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very loose.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
No,
I was thinking,
pyramid.
like, is this really your suggestion? And then you said the pyramid thing. I'm like, okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
pyramid theme. And then easy to learn, understand, and teach. It's incredibly simple to learn, and you just kind of play it out and see what happens. So I wanted a game that matched a lot of those parts. Really only having a few choices on your turn. I felt like there was one designer that really exemplifies this. Choosing is like, I have this choice, or this, and then I do what I get. Sometimes it's a little shenanigans into how you play, but really you're playing with that Egyptian theme as well. I balanced both these out. I picked Imhotep from Phil Walker Harding as my ease of play.
Yeah, I think you were gonna. I didn't know if you were gonna go with this route, but just because it theme wise it fits, but it doesn't.
Theme wise it fits, but it wasn't that did it. It was when I was looking at it, I was like, I want something where you literally only do like 1 of 2 or 3 options on your turn.
Yeah.
And I felt like that has a very similar flavor to it. And I was like originally going to go with Ticket to Ride, but I was like, I mean, I talk about Ticket to Ride a lot, and I want something that's a little bit more on point with it. Because Ticket to Ride, your ultimate goal is to build a route where that's definitely not in Camel Up. So I was like, when I saw Imhotep on my shelf, I'm like, that's the one, because you really are. You're trying to build a building. Yeah, you're trying to win the race. You're trying to be first one there to get the points, sure. But like, on your turn, you either get stones, place stones, or sail the ship.
Yeah.
Right. That's it, and it works incredibly well.
All right. So for my pick on ease of play, I wanted to give something that gives you kind of the feel that Camel Up gives you, but that is really, really simple. And so, who do I think about when it comes to kind of simplistic stuff? Not John DeClaire, but that's who I picked.
I was going to say, wait, what?
But this is a very simplistic game because all it is, it's simultaneous play, it's simultaneous selection, especially if you're using the app integration for this game.
You're going to put this on your list.
And it's Ready, Set, Bet. And it's just because, it's very easy to teach because your entire turn is basically you want to be the first one if you think this is the one that's going to bid until you get to a certain point. And if you're not playing with the app, one person's rolling the dice and just calling it out, which is fine that way too. So it plays really well with the app integration, which makes it really easy to teach the game because you're just like, this is what's going on. We don't have to concentrate here. Just watch the app and see where you want to bid. Very simple on that one. It also has the fun gambling aspect that you get from Camel Up, because you have that. You're also bidding on the camels to find out which one's going to win. So you have that little fun there, as well as it's not that hard to teach. I mean, I've taught it, you've taught it, Gamehead Geek taught us. So it's a fantastic game, and it was my easiest one to put on here. And this is Ready, Set, Bet.
Cool. I mean, I don't disagree with this pick.
All right.
I really don't. All right, next one is going to be replay value, and you're starting us off.
When we're talking about replay value, we're talking about the length of time and the scaling well. And that means like is a 2-player game relatively around the same time as a 4-player game, and does it feel like it's getting longer if there's more players added? Minimum number of plays for the full experience, and expandability, which means already existing expansions up to 1 possible future expansions, or expansions that have been confirmed by the designer or publisher. This is one that I had to go back and forth on. Infinitely replaceable. Yeah, in a sense. The game I went here is another racing game. Relatively new one here, because it does play okay with 1 to 4 players. I think with the expansion, and it does have 1 expansion, it can go up to 5. Or maybe it's 1 to 6, I can't remember exactly. But it has now 2-player boards that are double-sided because of the expansion. It has very simple core. You have your dice rolling. This one is deck building-esque because you're trying to push out heat, and that is heat. And what really sold it for me on the replay value part of it is for the minimum number of plays for a full experience. It almost has a campaign style in the box. As you're playing through the game, you're playing a set of race series where you can add stuff to your personal deck that someone else can't. So you can have a higher, more powerful engine compared to, say, something like Gamehead Geek will have in his. Maybe he is more for the turn aspects and stuff like that. So for me, this is one of the easier ones, but I hemmed and hawed a little bit where I was going to put it, and then I thought about the campaign style that you can get out of Heat.
Right. There's not really a campaign in Camel Up, though.
No, but that's why I'm not trying to give you exact matches. I'm just trying to give you the same feel. Hence, it has 1 expansion, just like Camel Up.
Sure.
And it gives you a little bit more of the minimum number of plays for the full experience because you have that campaign style to it. And that's why it went to replay value for me.
Okay, and no Baton Rouge from my list anyway. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I've never played it. So.
I never played it either, so.
I did think about Reifenbreit on one of these.
I thought about it too.
I did. My replay value was actually... so Camel Up plays 2 to 8 players, and it plays in about 30 minutes. And that was one thing that I thought was really good. So I was trying to find a game that plays along this, and even though I wasn't aiming for the theme specifically, the 2 to 8 players really embodies that racing excitement, and so I went with Ready Set Bet for this one.
Okay.
It's the same idea, you know. It's the same player count. It plays in about the same time, you know. Like it, and you don't have that much choice. But then you build on like your knowledge, and the more information you're being given, it's all that timing of when do I place it down, when do I do that. So replay value. That's why I picked it. It scales well. It's a minimum number of plays for the full experience, same way. And even though Ready Set Bet doesn't yet have one of those, it's.
I don't blame you.
It doesn't have an expansion yet, but I imagine it will.
Well, they just had the high roller thing. I think it comes with a little small expansion in it. So
exactly.
So that was Heat for me and Ready Set Bet for you.
And welcome, Cardman. Thank you for joining the podcast.
All right, so moving on to our meaningful choice.
Meaningful choice. All right, here we go.
And meaningful choice, when we're talking about this, is the impact on other players during the game, the depth of your strategy, tactics, or skill as you're playing, and do arbitrary choices, or AP make an impact in the game in a negative. And so for me, my pick, this was the easiest. I said Ready, Set, Bet was really easy. This was for sure the first game I thought of because it has a lot of meaningful choice in the game. Again, I tried to match our criteria and the theme of the game to a sense. And so for me, my pick is Downforce. Because you're bidding on your specific car or driver and you're trying to push them across the finish line or trying to get them to finish best. But you're still in the game even if your car doesn't finish based on your betting. And so that's where that push and pull that you get from Camel Up as well is your bidding as well as your racing.
Sure.
And so you have that little, and you get that in Downforce with the card play, the very smart card play. I play a card, I move this so many, and you go down your list, how many things are moving, other things can block you. Not as much shenanigans basis as Camel Up can be when that racing part, this one's more of a pure, so if Camel Up is too chaos for you, this is a more mitigated for you to get out of that chaos. And so my pick is Downforce.
All right, meaningful choice for me. Again, the meaningful choice in Camel Up is that timing. Like when you succeed at doing the objective that you want to do, when you think it's the right time where you're like, I'm going to pull the trigger, I think this camel is at the point where they're going to take it, that's when I need to throw that down and do that. But you're still up to some chaotic and random, right? Just because you think that you can complete it doesn't, or that you can complete that objective by betting for that camel, a wrench can be thrown your way in a pretty fun way. And since everyone's kind of all seeing the same thing play out, I wanted a game that felt like that too, with that very distinct timing aspect. And I picked Rise of Augustus for that. Rise of Augustus is a bingo style game. I guess it's called the Augustus now. I have the older version. And it's a bingo style game where you're pulling chips from a bag and everyone's filling in their little bingo cards with those icons. You only have a certain number, but as you complete, what makes it interesting is that when you get a certain number of certain ones, you then can take a victory point card that's worth points because you've reached that milestone, but then and only then are you able to get it. If you don't get it right then and there, you have to aim for the higher one, or because you can't go back to a smaller one, that's available for whoever else gets there first. So you can kind of shoot the moon in a way, whereas I feel like this is like, you know what, even though blue's ahead now, let's just like go for the gusto. I bet yellow's gonna win. Like it's like third line and that hasn't been pulled yet. Maybe it'll pull it off, I don't know, but I love that timing aspect of it.
Did they just retheme this with like a wizard theming on it or something like that? Yeah. It's an interesting game. I haven't played it.
Via Magica, I think, is the theme of it.
Yeah, I haven't played this in a while. It's a good pick. I just wasn't expecting it.
yeah. I mean, this was actually the first one I thought of because of that timing aspect. That's the thing I like most about Camel Up, is not that the camels move in shenanigans, not that you know the information. It's when you hit that critical point in the race, you're like, I think I know enough information where I'm willing to take my chance on this camel and watch it all fall to pieces because the token doesn't get pulled out of the bag the right way. That was a Rise of Augustus example. But yeah, that was meaningful choice for me, hands down. Next up is game immersion, and that'll be me talking about that. And this is, first off, is the game fun to lose, which in Camel Up, it's a riot no matter what happens because it's all shenanigans. Player interaction, table talk, role playing, how likely are you building out the scene and interacting with the game, and the stand-up memorable moments. This one, I felt, it's the best example I have for it. This is the other racing game that I have as well, because it definitely has that. You're involved in it. In Camel Up, there's all sorts of silly shenanigans that you're causing and finding out as the camels, like, some will jump on the back, some will make a big leap ahead because of that. And I love those moments that interacts with it. And so this game, even though it's a racing game and you are one of the players racing, you're trying to be the first across the finish line, you have those moments of absolute shenanigans, and sometimes you can't control it based on what cards you draw. And I've talked about this game a lot in our podcast many times before. This is Russian Bash, which I don't even know is available yet, but or still.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know if Quick Simple Fun still has it or if it's from somewhere else. But this is basically Mario Kart the game. Yeah. I know a lot of people say Dino's right or Dodo's Riding Dinos now
Yeah.
is like the Mario Kart game. No, this is Mario Kart.
Russian Bash,
game.
yeah.
Russian Bash is the Mario Kart game, as far as I'm concerned.
I used to own this game. My wife just wasn't a fan of it. It was just too much shenanigans for her.
Yeah, and see, I love that. Like being like you have to play a card, and then it does two things. You either move a lane, or you shoot an item, or you do a jump or whatever, some special ability, and then you move a number of spaces. And the fact is, like, if you have no cards where you can turn, it's hilarious because you're like, I'm pummeling straight towards this item and I can't get out of the way, so I'm taking you down with me. Let's go. You know, I love it. It's an absolute riot, and I feel the same in Camel Up.
All right, so speaking of riots, shenanigans, this is my cheaty pick in a sense. This is a co-op game where you're working together as a group, where you're not sure what's going to happen based on a bag pull. Friends of the podcast, Fireside Games, Castle Panic.
Yeah.
It is just because it's so much shenanigans. When we're talking about a game fun to lose, this game is fun to lose. When we're talking about player interactions, everybody's talking like someone needs to go over there. Hopefully you have some archers in your hand because someone needs to go to the green area and shoot those trolls coming this way. And then someone's be like, don't pull the boulder. Do not pull the boulder. We don't need the boulder to come out right now. Or sometimes people are cheering on the boulder because it's going to clear a whole section for you. So the like I said, the pure shenanigans, the memorable moments in this game gives you a lot of that same feel that you get with Camel Up.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, okay, why is that camel on top of that camel? What's going on here?
Yeah.
He's going for a ride, that kind of thing. You have that fun moments when stuff's coming out of that bag in Castle Panic, especially when the boulder comes up. It can come out very bad, or it can come out very good for you. So I really was like, this really does give you the essence of the shenanigans that Camel Up gives you in a board game style. And it's fun, it's family friendly, just as Camel Up is, so Castle Panic is my pick for game immersion.
Cool. Alright, and our last one is art and production.
And this one will be me, and starting off, of course, the art. It's a very subjective thing, but we try to be as unbiased, but games need to look good sometimes, especially something like Camel Up, which is a fantastically drawn game, has really good pieces and components as well, which is our next criteria. In the graphic design, we've talked about it before, both of us are colorblind. We want something that's very legible and really not icon heavy, because some of these games can be very icon heavy. So for my pick on this one, the graphic design is a little pushy because it took us a little bit just to get through the rule book and really understand how this game works. But the production value of this game is through the roof, and that is not even just the crowdfunded version of it. This is just the base copy of the game that we played, and it was fantastic. Little fun dice chucking mayhem game that we played with not modified dice, but their own type dice. I can't think of the term right now.
Okay.
And it is a straight up racing game. First one to cross the finish line wins. But there is a little bit of player elimination in this game, but it just leads to so much fun, so much shenanigans. You talked about it with Russian Bash, where it's the kind of Mario Kart style.
Sure.
This is a newer version Mario Kart style where you're trying to take out the leader or take yourself out by smashing into a wall. This is Thunder Road Vendetta. Every time we do the art production, I want to do something that has equal to or above the quality of the game that we're talking about.
Don't look at me.
Thunder Road Vendetta is through the roof with and just in the base copy, because the copy we played, Gamehead Geeks version, is the stuff that you can buy in the store. It's not the crowdfunded version, which is fantastic through the roof. Great plastic pieces. Decent enough graphic design when it comes to like the racing and stuff like that. The rule book could have been a little bit better. Restoration tends to knock it out of the park. Usually the rule book was a little iffy. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. Fantastic components. Fantastic time.
Okay. The last one I want to talk about as far as art and production. As far as custom dice and silly like atmosphere as far as the art goes, I had a lot of, like, I'm going to say the shortlist ones that came up in my mind was Escape, Curse of the Temple. That was a quick one. That wasn't the one I picked. Also Can't Stop. was also one I thought of because the stacking pieces and the stop sign board is really silly. But the one I ended up going with, and I think the thing about Camel Up, the one thing that is, it's arbitrary, but it really ties the whole production together, is that dice rolling pyramid. That one piece, the version I have, it's the original version, which it has like a rubber band like made out of cardboard device thing, and I think they made it a plastic one in the later editions. But really, you just have a thing that chooses a die at random and then rolls it for you in the same function. You flip it over, it goes shunk shunk, and then there you have a die that is rolled, picked arbitrary. And I wanted something that embodies that piece. So I was like, I want a game that has one piece that has one function. It's very specific to just this game, and it's a nice lightweight game on top of it. Shake That City from AEG does that, where you haven't seen that one?
No, I haven't played it.
Oh yeah, so it has the city shaker.
Yeah.
Where you put a bunch of cubes in it, you shake it around, and you go and it lays a perfect 3x3 grid of colored cubes. I mean, that 100%. That is like the focal point of Camel Up. I was like, I want another game that does a similar device.
Is this John DeClaire?
No.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's not John DeClaire. You're thinking Rolling Heights.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And you're rolling meeples on that one. But no, it's that centerpiece, that one contraption, I just love that. And you build it out of cardboard. And I remember building it, I'm like, I get how it works, but how does it work? Like how does it work so well?
People complained about building that thing because it's a little tough.
It's easy. Like, it's surprising. I mean, sure, I guess I could see some people having trouble with it. But I had no more trouble building that than I did the pyramid and Camel Up. So it was the same thing for me. I like it a lot, and it's a fun little, cool bingo-esque style game. So, check it out, Shake That City from AEG Games.
Cool. With that being said, that was actually a fun one. Next month's Board Game Brainstorm is going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I feel it'll be more contentious, although I'm going to be honest, like, and nothing against your picks, but I very much disagree with most of your picks. Rennie said that, I agree with, 100%.
I was like, one of my picks were on your thing.
Yeah, no, that was the one I was like, okay, I agree with. But everything else, I'm like, But that's
these games are 10 times better than Camel Up.
But again, this is why you get both of us. Double Daniel for a reason, so you can align yourself with.
At least you can find most of my games in public.
Hold on. Imhotep,
Russian Bash.
Right. Okay.
Rise of Augustus can be a little difficult if you're going for the Augustus version. Via Magica, maybe.
Oh, sure, whatever. Like, there's a version in print, and you can buy it online too. It's fine. But I'm just saying.
A lot of people don't want to play board games online.
I agree, but that doesn't mean it's unavailable. It's available. It's just I get it. Sure. Only one of mine is questionably available right now. Either way. Which one? No, Rise of Augustus is available. Via Magica is available.
Yes, but you didn't say Via Magica. You said Rise of Augustus. I had to call out the fact.
Flavor.
I had to call out it's Via Magica now.
Yeah.
So, I'm right. You're wrong again.
We hope you have enjoyed our episode today. If you ever want to contact us directly, you can email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com, where you can tell us your thoughts on today's episode, whether it's to say hello, give us ideas for future episodes, or enter in future contests that we may or may not bring in. Also, there's an Instagram, as you referenced earlier. I was waiting for dramatic pause, by the way. Which I will soon be posting a picture of the games that I played today on that Instagram as well. Everyday Board Games. Instagram.com/everydayboardgames. I give up.
All video re-uploads are found on YouTube under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on that platform. Subscribe if you're not. Like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
Yeah, if you ever want to join us on a live taping of our episode, you sure can. Join us at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. Just like our friends, Creative Chaos, Illuminous, or Cardman, our new time chatter. Thanks for chatting with us. Or anybody else who tuned in today. We'd love to hear your opinions during our live episodes.
All audio versions will be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.